the math and the science of Kevin Samuels. And earlier preset, Lana and I, right now we're here with Moody, we're here with Lana, we're here with Wordsmith, the Alchemist, our staff, and also we want to thank Bolingbrook, the Village of Bolingbrook, the Chamber of Commerce, and all our supporters for being nominated for Small Business of the Year Entertainment category. We fell short, we became a finalist, but we really are grateful for the opportunity. Please subscribe, press like. We're really stepping on next with presenting our product within the next few weeks. So you guys got to subscribe and get involved with us, our topics. We're going to a new set. This is our last set. This is our last. We're still in the gallery, but we got a new set for y'all. We got something quaint, something intimate, and we got a lot of good things coming. We really want to close out our final show downstairs at the gallery, and we're going to take it up to the loft, which is, you know, a really, again, it's a really intimate set, and we're going to really get more deeper into our topics. We're going to get more, you know, focused on the different categories. And right now we're closing out with the Kevin Samuels Part 2, Wordsmith. Tell us a little bit about this, Kevin Samuels Part 2.
Yeah, so we did a topic on Kevin Samuels a couple of weeks, well, it's been about a month ago now, not a couple of weeks ago. And most of you all know Kevin Samuels. If you don't know, you must be living under a rock. You know what I'm saying? He has a very, very popular YouTube channel. He talks about the black family and all things relationships and dating. Very, very polarizing figure in that space, but nonetheless comes with a lot of heavy-hitting topics. The topic for this week, formally for us, is the science of math and dating. And trust me when I tell you, Alchemist and Lana have already been talking about this topic for a whole hour before the show even started. So just dive right back into it.
It ain't been a whole hour. It was like 58 minutes.
Okay.
It wasn't a whole hour.
Yeah, we'll just dive back into what you was talking about. I know this week's show is not going to be as long as it usually is, so get to it. Get the proceedings proceeding.
Yeah, we're cutting this. And the show, we got cut a little short this recording due to the fact, again, that we have event that we do at the gallery now, dope spot, dope events. We have an open mic, so Moody, we want Moody to chime in. We're talking about the Kevin Samuels. You heard
actually, yeah, why don't we start there?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but you heard both of us.
Yes. I was in and out. I was kind of more thinking about being prepared for the show while you were having a very passionate,
spirited conversation,
high energy conversation about this. So, what exactly is what is the topic?
Okay, let's switch seats.
Sum it up. Oh no. Okay.
Because let Moody do her mediator thing right now on this particular subject. Because me and Lana.
That's perfect.
Because I thought about that. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, me and Lana, you know, because in the future though, we're trying to, you know, Lana probably will be hosting, doing a lot of the hosting. But right now, this is this moment right now that I think I'm gonna shift. So yeah, because we got to knock this out. We got to figure out the angle. So Moody, you asked me the question. What prompted this conversation was leading into the part 2. So Lana and I were just discussing the dynamics of himself, and like she said. Who she's not knocking the principles, but you have to question the man as well. In anything, you have to question the man. But for the most part, that from what I got from you, Lana, was the women have put themselves in a situation when they call can be a form of embarrassment and or shame, and why you putting yourself through that? Okay.
Wait, I have a question before we continue, because like I'm so fuzzy on exactly what the topic, like the meat of the potatoes are here. So what I heard, what you guys were talking about, actually something that I heard Wordsmith say was like, well, why don't we ever hear a guy saying, I don't need a woman, or like, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
So like, was the premise of the conversation like?
Yeah, the premise of it was the fact that I said that women are privileged.
Yes.
And Lana said so. And Lana said so. And men, I said women are privileged.
We're having a different conversation over here.
Yeah. I said women are privileged, and Lana said there's a point in time when men are privileged. I disagreed, and then she said, well, how could you disagree when all the technology that has, to me, in my opinion, what I got out of it, that has really taken out some of the necessity for a man. Then she said, well, I don't need a man. And then I said, I said women have to have a man. And then she said, well, based on what we're talking about today, which is a fact, that's a fact. That's what I said. And that's what I said. I said there's a fact. She's saying based on right now, that is true. I couldn't argue. I wouldn't argue against myself. I would put myself in a bad place.
Right.
But I said now the premises of we were talking about the totality of the topic is I was explaining that most people aren't like Lana. Lana's a very diverse person, very sharp person.
I'm talking about average people.
I'm talking about holistically. I'm talking about
a general whole.
Yeah, a general whole. And what me and Lana flaws are most of the time is that Lana gives her points of views based on the view that she has in her experience, which is a little girthier, a lot girthier, and a little more, to me, she has a little more intellectual properties behind that. So to me, sometimes I get misconstrued because I feel like you're speaking for women, and to me, you're not speaking for women. That's why me and you.
I think in some cases, and even in this conversation, what I would notice is definitely that when Lana speaks, I feel like as a woman, like I can understand what she's saying. Like even some of the things that like I can't agree with because I was in those positions or haven't experienced those things. There's a different language, just like how I think men have their own kind of, language as well. So I think a lot of times, and I think what I saw right now was this is coming from a woman's perspective, and it's something that is so it's so different than a man's, that for you guys to have these opposing but both maybe correct opinions, it makes
I don't, and that's why I disagree.
But because what we're talking about is something very specific.
Yeah, but this is why I disagree. Okay. I disagree because actually Lana and I agree on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the part where I'm saying no. But the point is that Lana is coming from an experience that most women don't have. So this is really why I want to utilize Lana's perspective today. Is that most women think they Lana. With the point of view, with the perspective, that's where it's capped. That's where it's slipping.
Right.
Is that someone has to come along and say, you're not that. You don't get it like that. You haven't endured like that. You don't understand. You don't have the capacity.
And I think
so that's what me and your thing is.
It's right, because I don't disagree, because I've told you before in confidence, like when I speak with my friends, I'm about accountability regardless of the gender. Now, what I'm saying is, and this is where I go to privilege, right? Where I go back to this idea of women are being privileged now, but men were, and I said, well, I believe men were privileged too, because the thing is, lack of accountability is found in both genders. It's not isolated to women in this specific space that Kevin Samuels has zoned in on. Yes, of course, then we're going to talk about the lack of accountability with women in their space. But what I'm saying is that goes on both ends. I can tell you how many times a man lacks accountability. The boy crisis was based off of a man not even being in the household and not even holding himself accountable to the child that he helps procreate. So what I'm saying is, regardless of the gender, I feel like right now women are privileged in a space where they're able to, I don't want to say get their lick back, but it's almost kind of in that same.
It's like a karmic.
It's almost like a karmic, exactly. And the only difference is it's newer for women to be in this space, because as a woman, from what I've seen and generationally, men have been in this space. Whether you a stand-up man or not, they've been they have the privilege to act in the way that now women have been afforded the opportunity to act. I'm not saying that I agree with it, but now the tables have turned to where my need of survival, not my need of wanting someone, but in order for me to survive, I don't have to take this person's whatever, because I am in a position with technology, with advancements, that I don't require you. But I don't have to tolerate your ego to put food in my mouth anymore. Now, I think with that, in that space, that women have not been all the way honest with themselves. And I agree. It's like, I'm big on accountability. Just because you have the opportunity to move a certain way, you still got to watch how you move. And that's where women are not owning themselves. And that's when, as a woman, I've seen women. And I go, you tweaking. Like, no, I don't care if you felt this way, you were wrong. Regardless if it's a man, I'm going to tell you were wrong. And that's, I think what I'm saying as far as like to me where I thought the irony of it, the joke of it is that I can kick back and go, ha ha ha, it's funny how when the shoe's on the other foot and it's almost like you're getting a taste of your own medicine, that all of a sudden it's been a problem. Just the difference is with women.
Now I'd like to give my point of view. Now, okay, first of all, standing from a man's point of view, it ain't a taste of our own medicine. The whole how we look at it is we don't really care. So what's happening is women have had their declaration of wanting to say and make their statement of what they are, what they make, what their credentials are, their education. We never gave a damn. Just real talk. Women have decided that they're going to sell to each other that y'all care. So the part where lick back and all that, we really don't care. So now I want to get to the math part of it. So when we start discussing the fact that I don't need no man because of technology and my ego, that's great. Like last time I'm using you as the example. You're 30 years old or a little over 30, you're roughly 30 years old. And for a 30-year-old, that's a great attitude to have, okay? Especially if you have a man. Now, for a 30-year-old, if you do not have a man, that's a terrible attitude to have. And I'm going to explain why. Because in order to sustain what you got right now, because the world is changing and the world will be challenging. So the lack of education for our people, like you said, fundamentally, we've all had some shortcomings. Well, the reality now in those shortcomings is that as a nucleus, it's going to take a woman to have a man to survive because of the shortcomings. The shortcomings and the opportunities only been the last 3 decades. So we start talking about 30 years. All this has happened in 30 years. But the unfortunate part is that when you say, well, it's our turn to get it, well, it never happened nowhere because it doesn't exist in no other parts of the world because of the other cultures survive. And their culture, their people, their lineage. Blacks, we don't because we have fallen victim to a new way, which is what you're saying now. I don't need a man. Well, this is a new concept. This ain't proven in science. This subject is about science and the science of Kevin Samuels. So let's talk about the science. That's unproven. What women have signed on for is unproven. That's an unproven theology. Meaning that right now you can say, oh, how you going to tell me I ain't proving nothing? Because right now I pay my bills. That does not prove the survival in the nucleus of where we're talking about a woman's needs are. So I'm going to the science of where Kevin Samuels gets his information, most of it, and it's the Bible. So like Lana and I were talking, Moody, you could chime in. Lana, it's open dialogue from picking up from where we left off. What I was explaining that Kevin Samuel's science in this is that he asked most women, do you have a religion or are you a Christian? Meaning that do you believe in God or do you believe in scriptures? Whether it's the Quran, whether it's the Torah, the scriptures. Now, fundamentally in all those scriptures, it breaks down the genesis of man and woman. Okay, so now before I break that part down, that means that a man is formed and conceived a certain way with a certain position and a hierarchy. A position and a hierarchy. A woman is formed in a certain way with a position and she has a hierarchy as well. Okay, so now we're gonna break down how this shit got confusing with everyone. Now, when you take the fact that the science of it is the man is created in God's direct image in the form of matter. Dust is what it's termed. That's the term. All y'all might be familiar. So it's formed out of dust. So that's galactically, that's cosmically. So man was actually formed before man came down because it was in the image directly of God, which is not in the physical image. Okay? So when that happened, that man was walking around with God. Getting education, getting information. Because he walked with God, what no one else did. So this is the hierarchy that the man holds by nature. Okay, period. That's only if you believe in these scriptures.
Of course.
Okay, now we go to the fact that God said, well, I will get you a mate, to help meet you with the things that I want you to go do. All right, now, the way that the woman was formed was not the same way that the man was formed. The woman was actually formed through flesh, through a germ, through the hip of Adam. So the woman, actual natural nature was conceived through a material in a dimension that's here. So her weaknesses will be to the world. Her weaknesses will be physical. Her weaknesses will be the tangible things in this world. But also, she's there naturally to help meet the needs of Adam. Now here's where it gets funny, and I'm talking about the everybody in New York, the 5%ers, all these people around here, the conscious community. When you start talking about women being God and man being God, let's clear this up today too, because that's part of the science. We're gonna go ahead and throw that shit in there. Okay, now there's a dualistic system here. The man by nature carries the spirit of God that was breathed into him by the breath of life.
Right.
Okay, the man was now used to form the woman. Okay, in the Garden of Eden, when the serpent approached, the serpent never ever approached the man because the serpent knew it couldn't deceive God. So nowhere would you read in the scripture that the serpent even ever had a thought of it. Never even thought about it, because the serpent actually is the most subtle. It was the most smoothest, the most coolest of them all. So homie knew what was up, is what I'm trying to say. He knew who to talk to. Well, why would he talk to her? He talked to her because he knew that she didn't have information. See, dude walked with God. He knew the laws. He told her, you know, he walked with God. By walking with God, he knew the laws. They knew about the apple, and you can eat everything in the garden, but there's a particular tree that you're not supposed to. Well, the serpent, not the devil, wasn't a devil. The serpent began to communicate with her. Why? Because she has the weakest component. She was the weakest. She was the easier person or being to attack, because Adam wasn't around her at that moment. So this is where the protection of man comes. We ain't talking about money. We ain't talking about this. We ain't talking about a bad bitch. We ain't talking about a real nigga. We talking about the true essence of it is that your job is to be close to him, so you don't get caught up in these supple ways or become a devil's advocate like the movie Keanu Reeves and the other one. That's what that movie was derived of, being the devil's advocate. Who were they talking about? All the women. They were talking about all the women. Now, why would they call the women the devil's advocate? Because the women are the ones that have been put into the position of being compromised. Why? Because Adam didn't tell her. Adam actually snitched.
Yeah.
Adam was like, man, bro.
Well, no, he ate it too.
I said, but he said she the one that brought it to me though.
Right.
He
but
like
after he indulged.
He
stood there and waited for her to do it first as a protector to see what was going to happen to her. He didn't wait.
First of all, he didn't wait to see what's going to happen.
It says it when you read it. It literally, when you read how it went down, she has the apple. She didn't take a bite of the apple and then come back. Like, he ate the apple. Adam watched. Then when nothing happened to Eve, Adam took the fruit. And then Adam took the fruit.
But here's the caveat. Here's the caveat. Adam never watched. When you go read it, when you actually read them, Adam never watched. She took the fruit and she just brought it to him, and they both shared it together. See, so what I'm saying, I know it's. So
if they shared it together, who took the bite first?
She took the bite.
So then he watched her take the bite.
No. I'm sorry. This is what I'm saying.
I was like, what?
No, this is what I mean is that the point that I'm saying is that
the point of what you're saying is that because he walked with God, he had the ability and knowledge,
right,
to understand something that the serpent knew he would understand.
But
he approached the woman because the woman is.
Here's the caveat. During that time, actually Eve didn't get the information. She didn't receive the information. She received what she shouldn't do. But what the devil explained to her is that he came with a little bit of truth with a little bit of the lie. He's like, no, you can't have these things. Well, her desires, because she has a desire to want to please. She has a desire to want, because that's what she came out of.
Right.
Okay. So the devil knew what her consistency was, what her program was, what her biological anatomy was. So he used that as a weakness. So whether Adam was right after she bit it or right in there, the point is that during the time she was talking to the devil, she wasn't around Adam.
Right.
That's the protection.
Right.
So what happens is over time, as everybody got cursed. Okay, so everybody, like you said earlier, everybody took the L, but it still doesn't take away from everybody's role.
Right.
Now, in this situation, the woman would be the more compromised, because the woman now has to deal with the compromising aspects of technology, the aspects of all the worldly, all the things that puts her in a position to cause the man to work by the sweat of his brow. Right. Meaning that the man got to go out and do all these things for the woman. Now they're no longer working and doing God's work now, right. Because most women want someone to do something that's out of the nature of God. So the issue or the science that this man is saying is just simply the man's role is protection. Mm-hmm. So when you say you don't need a man, what you're saying is you have already had this system and vision, and you believe we can roll 20, 30, 40, not you personally.
Well, it's not that the system is in place, because, and I'm speaking from, if we're going to go, and I'm just going off of what you said, the fact that men are not even in the house anymore. It's a reality that women or children, male or female, had to figure out a way, including with the mother, to figure out how do I protect myself then?
No, we're talking about dating. Okay,
What I'm saying is, the way that I was raised, with or without a man in my life, or whatever type of man it was as a father figure, does in return affect how I date.
We there. Everybody been part of this black holocaust. The black man been affected. Right. The woman been affected. Right. So let's stay on an even keel on that. Everybody been affected. So now what?
So now it's just everybody takes accountability in the shit that they got.
And that's where we at today. Right. So the accountability is the roles that we play. So let's go back to the science.
So now we're talking about, like, just to interject here, now we're talking about the roles that women are choosing not to play today.
Absolutely, because that's going to.
And you're saying also that it is a choice. And
absolutely, because of privilege, because of opportunity. That's what giving women feel like it's empowerment. Women feel like, you know what, now it's our turn. It's your turn to do something that no group has ever survived at doing. Animals, cultures, other ethnicities, they've never survived at what women have prescribed now is the new way. Never survived.
Wait, what do you mean?
The new way is saying, I don't need a man. That is the new way. That is not the old way. Like you said, that's the past.
Can I make a point, actually? Mm-hmm. Something that I thought about while you were having this discussion before the show was that how my immediate thought was, like, it's not in our culture. Like, it's not in our culture today to do those things, because, like how you're saying, it's the new wave, because of what I always tell you, Alchemist, why would it be? The question is always going to be, just so that, like, I can help you to understand and see that, because, like, it doesn't make much sense, but it does. You know
what I'm explaining, to kind of streamline it, is the reason why it would be the way is because if you're thinking short-sighted, if we're talking about right now today,
exactly,
let me so the culture is about now, but as far as life and existence of a nucleus of a family, we're thinking visionary. So we're not thinking today or tomorrow. The concept is based on long term. We're talking God, so it takes man and woman to actually make man. So to get back, so you have to need a man in order to fulfill your full existence, to complete your self cycle as a woman. So when a woman say, I don't need a man, well, how can you complete your full cycle? How is that possible? Oh, well, I'll just live and I'll die. No, to completely be a complete woman, you have to go and be cohesive with a man. I'm not talking about the living part.
No, I know, okay. I understand that. Well, what I'm saying is, and this goes, I even believe that, women needs, because I've seen friends let great men go because of their own ego. Just being real. So what I'm saying is, what I think has happened is, for me personally, I am in a relationship. My goal, eventually, I want to be married. I want to have a certain type of love that I want, that's needed for me to elevate in this. Hear me out. To have me, to get me to the space that I want to be. But what I'm saying is, I'm also in a position now as a woman where I can choose the type of man that I want in my life. What I think is happening is that now that women have the option to choose what type of men that they want, they're not checking their own ego.
They always had the option.
No, they did not.
A woman never had an option to choose the man she wanted?
No.
Since I was in the 80s, bro, every woman was out there picking who they wanted to be. Since dope dealers was running around, women were out there picking what they wanted. There's no such thing as a woman did not have a choice. We just explained how there's more opportunity now than it's ever been for women.
What I'm saying is, Even now, prime example, as a man, you know that if you want a certain type of woman, you gotta come correct, right? Just if we talking about just in a right, okay. So as a woman, I am aware that if I want a certain type of man, there's a certain way I have to step. I know this.
You are.
No. Women are not naive. Like, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying this.
But you're still saying you're talking about a man, though. See, here's the caveat. In the end, you like, I want to be married.
What I'm saying
so now,
is
what kind of guy?
Because I don't have to depend on an income. What I'm saying is I have the ability in my space to comfortably take a seat and look and say, I can have patience with my choice, and I don't have to make an impulsive decision because I am able to afford myself the luxury.
But what that got to do with?
So what I'm saying is, in that space, women are not. Every woman does not have that approach. They're not checking themselves ego-wise.
So what I'm getting at here is that we agree. Both parties here agree
I'm stumped though.
So what I'm saying is,
both parties agree that we're in a new age. It has a new culture that allows women to have a privilege. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Do you agree with that? You just agreed with that through conversation, saying, well, we're talking about how women have the most, opportunity, right? So we agree with that. The difference is coming from her perspective. It's a very personal perspective.
But we kind of getting,
because you're not the average person.
But it's so personalized.
About, right?
And that's what makes it.
What I'm saying.
It's just it's like what you can do, and it's like it just does
But
not speak for the volume.
But what I just said was that all women do not check themselves. I understand.
But that's
that.
what Kevin Samuels and that's why he on deck. That's why he on deck. Most women don't check themselves. What you're saying is my point. Most women really don't check themselves.
You need a man to check yourself.
That was my point.
Huh? What?
You need a man to check yourself.
No, I'm not saying that you have to have a man to check yourself. What I'm saying is the women have not had the knowledge. The knowledge is what check you. Okay,
From a man.
From whoever. It's just the man delivering it, and women are uncomfortable. If it was a female doing this, it'd be okay. But because it's a man, I do. Well, then what's the issue? Because the man, the person is delivering information that our community do not have. Period. Meaning that they don't have the true ideology on how a relationship works for the support of the black family. Not right now in making choices and dating, but making choices for 20 years from now. We're not dating for 20 years. That's my whole point. We're dating for right now, bro. So just for the fact that we don't date for 20, 30 years, whoever we picking ain't even a 20 or 30 year nigga. Period. So why isn't that? Who did anything to a woman to tell her not to pick that? It's it's the technology, the commercials, the rap, the hip hop. Who we look at? Who the world has a? That's the devil's advocate. If you continue to buy into that, then you are just an advocate of that. Because now you're forcing men. Now you're forcing men to keep up with a world that does not even exist or does not even sustainable.
That they created.
She's basically, what was that line that Kanye said, talking about how she's using shopping therapy, and that was like, you know what I'm talking about? What song is that?
All Fall Down.
Yeah. Or whatever. Is it All
Falls Down. But yeah, man, we got to wrap it up, man. This was.
I want to
wrap it
within the next 5 minutes. Let's wrap it up. But I want to get some solutions, because I feel like we've talked about a lot about the issues.
Okay.
And problems. Yeah. So in your opinion. I want to get you all's opinion. So actually, Lana first. Lana, in your opinion, what's a solution? What should women do? Concisely state. What do you think women should do to get on the right path?
I feel like women need to hold themselves accountable. Like, I feel like women are delusional to an extent when they act like they can't do anything wrong. And as a woman, I'm saying that because I hold myself accountable. I hold my friends accountable. I hold my mother. I hold anybody accountable. I don't care what you got between your legs. I'm gonna hold you accountable. So for me, I think that the world needs to start at holding themselves accountable before they go out in the world and venture off and say, you need to, it goes back to not owning their shit.
But who's gonna, who tugs each other's coattail though? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so hold each other accountable. What do you think, Alchemist? What needs to be done? What's the solution?
I'm gonna take her point. holding someone accountable, and I feel like continuing to hold women accountable. I believe men in our society, we already been raised to know that men, what they are, what black men can't do, what we can do, what we neglect. So now we're just saying, okay, well, all of it isn't on us. And now we want women now to hold themselves, not a man. A man is telling women, talk to each other and stop placating and competing with each other and trying to take each other nigga.
Okay.
Because that's what's going on.
Can we have we should have something about that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Because that's what's going on.
What are your thoughts, Moody?
I think the solution is to kind of understand what like culture and tribe you belong to, because obviously I'm talking more individually, but to speak on what you're saying generally, I think that if we decide our tribes and we understand where we come from, we can at least stay consistent with whatever solution that may be. For me, I'm a traditional. I would think more traditionally, and going back into having those roles and trying to get there would help each other most. But
well, that's it, man. For Fibonacci, man. We thank you guys. We got to wrap it up.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.